Hello, and welcome back to Manufacturing Matters Jackson, the first and only television show and podcast dedicated to supporting and celebrating the manufacturing industry of Jackson County, Michigan. My name is Keith Gillenwater, and I'm the president and CEO of Accelerate Jackson County.
And I'm Olivia Steele, executive director of JAMA. Keith, how are things going at Accelerate Jackson?
Honestly, things are as busy as it has been for us in quite a while. We're seeing a lot of inquiries come through on business opportunities for some of our existing buildings, as well as projects that are potentially looking at greenfield builds as well. So that's exciting. We've got a little bit of travel coming up from the day that we're recording this at the beginning of May. We've got some travel coming up this coming weekend for supporting our foreign direct investment strategy, or FDI, what we call it in our industry, which really plays into our guest today as well, with having a foreign parent company as well. And then right now, we have our site study underway where we're looking at opportunities to potentially bring that next business park online. And so we've been looking across all of Jackson County to see what those opportunities might be. And so pulling some stakeholders together over that to just start having those discussions to say, is this a good opportunity? Is this a good fit for the community? And if there is a good opportunity there, what will it take to bring a site online? So a lot of irons in the fire right now, but good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
So what do you got going on, Olivia? I will tell you, I've been at the JAMA offices a lot in the last couple of weeks, which I think is a testament to how busy you've been.
Yes, we have been very busy. This year has flown by already. So on April 16th, we had the AMTC open house with the ShopRat Foundation, which was really exciting. Over 100 people came to the open house and shared that exciting moment with us. So very excited about that. And then the following week, we had an event with Jackson College. We signed an articulation agreement so that JAMA students can receive credit for their classes. So very exciting there. And now we gear up for the JAMA annual dinner, where we talk about the highlights of JAMA over the last year and what's coming, and then more importantly, give out awards to our community members. So gearing up for that, very exciting.
Yeah, I will say I was really excited. Obviously, I came to both your events and at the open house. Just to see how amazing the AMTC is, right? And all of the opportunities that you have there. Then that MOU signing with Jackson College, like as soon as I heard that you guys were doing that, I sent you and Amber from Jackson College a text saying, oh my God, thank you. Like this is what we've been trying for and what needs to happen. And I think again, I think you will see that play out a little bit with our guest today as well. You kind of see how that comes, what that actually looks like, right?
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. I always had a partnership with Jackson College. It's just great to take it to the next level. So glad we were able to do that.
Awesome. Do you want to maybe talk about our guest today?
Yeah, so we are going to have Gerdau on today, and Brandie Boucher and Carlos Range will be joining us.
Awesome. So stay tuned.
And welcome back to Manufacturing Matters Jackson. Today we have Brandie Boucher and Carlos Range from Gerdau with us. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and then Gerdau, and we'll start with Brandie.
Yes, I'm Brandie Boucher. I am the HR manager for our downstream operations at Gerdau, which is our facility in Jackson, Michigan here. And then we have another facility in Huntington, Indiana, that's part of our downstream operations.
I've been working at Gerdau since '07. I recently joined the apprentice program for electrician, and it's been a good opportunity for me, and hoping to take me to good places.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what Gerdau does and what the downstream operation means, I guess.
Yeah. So our facility here in Jackson, Gerdau, we produce steel. So we take our raw steel or raw scrap. We're going to melt it down to make steel. Our facilities in Monroe is where our steel is produced, and our Fort Smith, Arkansas mill. So Jackson used to be a full melting mill, and then we idled the hot side in 2020. And so now Jackson is basically a processing facility for the steel bars that are going to come in from our sister plants. When the steel comes into the plant, it's going to be in a rolled bar form. And in Jackson, we will do value-added properties to that steel from heat treating it, straightening it, turning and polishing it, and then cutting it into blanks, and then it's shipped out to the customers from there. All of our steel for our division is our specialty steel, so it's going to be going into safety critical applications. So any car that you see driving around, more than likely it has steel that was finished in Jackson. Motorcycle, tractors, any moving part, it more than likely will have a piece of steel that was processed in Jackson. They're all safety critical. Usually it's all safety critical components. And so from that, it's going to be your drivetrains, camshafts, crankshafts, anything that's going to can go into a transmission, an engine component, steering rack. So heavily automotive, I would say probably a lot of our steel is going to be roughly 80 to 85, the automotive sector. Some of the other sectors that we do supply steel to is going to go into the oil and gas, distribution, agricultural, some of the other markets that that the steel will go into as well. Defense is another area as well.
So Carlos, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Gerdau?
From currently, well, I shadow our experienced electricians at the moment. Recently moved to day shift, and so I'm getting a little day shift training. Do more PMs and whatnot on day shift versus just respond to breakdowns on the off shifts.
Yeah, so can you tell some of our viewers that maybe don't know what PM means, what that means?
PM stands for preventative maintenance, so trying to be proactive on the equipment, get more running time out of it, so minimizing breakdowns.
What does your head count look like here in Jackson at the facility?
So currently at our Jackson facility, we have roughly about 150 employees.
Great. So ironically enough, where the community I came from in Indiana, I was very familiar with your Huntington operation. It was in the county next to us. I actually used to know one of the former plant managers there, so it's been a few years, but and so when you mentioned earlier on the Huntington location, I'm like, I knew it was the same company. I'm like, oh wow, it's the same operation as well. So that's pretty interesting to me. So
our Huntington facility does a little bit different. It's mainly a heat treating facility, so mainly a quench and temper type heat treating versus the hearth furnaces that we have in Jackson. So just a little bit style different of heat treating, but they're also, again, same thing. They're part of our downstream process. So even sometimes the process needs to go to our Huntington facility before it comes to Jackson.
Gotcha.
So what is, in your opinion, the coolest part of working at Gerdau? What's the best part, the coolest part about Gerdau?
Do you want to?
Yeah, I can answer that. I mean, the time I spent there, you know, I done fell in love with Gerdau. All the people, you know, we got some pretty good workers out there. They give you a lot of opportunity. Like, I'm taking advantage of a lot of opportunity at my age, and overall, it's been a good job. I haven't left, so.
For me, I think in general, manufacturing excites me. Not often, you know, you can just get up, go out, spend time out on the floor. Although we don't melt in Jackson anymore, just it's something you'll never experience or see. So it's very exciting to see that type of process. But even now in Jackson, being able to see the continued growth that we're having, even without melting anymore in Jackson, we're looking at future expansions, and it's very exciting for me to kind of see the process and see things being made and how everything works, even from an HR standpoint. That's what kind of excites me.
What, in your process, like, what does the volume look like? How much steel is coming through your facility? I mean, obviously I drive by the facility and I see, it seems like there's a lot, right? I'm just curious, any factoids you can share like that?
We'll process about 36,000 tons a month at the facilities.
Wow, that seems like a lot.
It does. It does.
As I try to picture what 36,000 tons of steel looks like, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. Carlos, can you tell us a little bit about what types of electrical work that you're doing at Gerdau?
On day shift, we do the PMs and whatnot, and we answer calls. If a machine operator calls and the machine is not doing what it's supposed to do, we answer that call and try to get them back going as safely and fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, what made you want to get into the electrician program at Gerdau?
Well, it was a good opportunity, and at that point, I had got an associate's degree that I didn't continue, and it was the opportunity just to advance and do something different than run a straightener.
So you had been with the company for several years before you did the program.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I passed it up. I didn't pass it up. I didn't apply for it several times before. I seen people go through it, and I'm like, man, that 4 years went by fast. So I was like, when it came around again, I pursued it and got lucky and got it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
So.
And you're doing your classes at Jackson College for the electrical program.
Correct.
And how were those classes going for you? Or how did they go since you just recently finished those up?
They went well. They were good classes. They were good classes. They were in depth. They were online, and then they had labs that you could go to and kind of get a little bit of hands-on. But I think it was thorough. It was a good program, I feel.
That's great. Well, and I think it's also a testament to the company, right? I mean, the company that when in an era where companies right now struggle to hire, struggle to retain, the companies that are more successful are the ones who are willing to invest in their workforce, right? And provide these opportunities, and that buys longevity of your employees, right? When they see that there is an opportunity to be able to continue to learn and upskill and lead to probably a better job, probably a pay increase and those kinds of things as well. And so do you have similar apprenticeship programs in other disciplines or mostly in electrical or?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we do approach from Jackson is that all of our apprenticeships are going to come from internally, right? It's an opportunity for our production workers to advance their career. So currently the two programs that we do the apprenticeships through are our electrical and our mechanical. Again, it's just as we see, I mean, as I think the nation has seen the struggle to even find skilled trades. And so it's another way, again, to continue to grow that skill set in-house by offering it in-house and promoting somebody and giving them the opportunity to continue to grow their career.
Great.
And so do you know approximately how many apprentices, since you've been there, just approximate?
Oh, I would probably say close to maybe 20 to 25 apprentices since I've been there. It's, even when I started, it was something we were already working through with JAMA and Jackson College is the apprenticeship internally. And ever since I've been there, it's always been internal people that we pick internally to go through the apprenticeship program.
And how has it looked as far as your retainment of those individuals that have been through that program?
We lost some individuals when we did idle the hot side. I think there was just concern from where we were going. However, I would say that we've continued to retain now that we're growing. I think even as we hire new employees, that's the first thing they kind of ask about and they hear. And so right now we have a waiting list of people that are currently our employees that are wanting to know when we're going to be adding more to the apprenticeship program. So they very much do see it as that even we're able to hire production people knowing that they can come in and get their foot in the door and go through the apprenticeship program.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we have a video that we came out and took at the facility, and then when we come back from the video, we'll be able to chat a little bit more.
Sounds good.
This is our bar yard. This is where all of the long steel bars are stored, where the product is going to be coming in until they're ready to go through one of the processing lines. Either they'll come in via truck. We also have a bar that comes in via rail and then stored here until it's ready to be processed. So all of the steel that comes into Gerdau Jackson is going to go through one of our processes to add more value back into the steel. One of the first steps it does go through is our heat treating furnaces. Again, these are all going to go each based upon a recipe that the customer is needing, whether it's to soften or harden the material. And so these are the two heat treat furnaces that we have here in the Gerdau Jackson facility. This is our straightener. All of our bars are going to run through the straightener, and it's basically two rolls that are going to apply pressure to get that bar straight for the next process it's going to go through. So this is our trimmer. What it's doing is it's going to take a certain level of surface off of the bar. It would basically peel a layer off of that bar to get it to turn into from the black bar to the shiny bar. This is all based upon customer requirements, what level of diameter they need that bar to be turned down to. Once it goes through this turner, it's going to then go through the next application up line, which is our polisher, to make that a smooth, shiny bar. All of our product that goes through our straightener line is going to go through inline inspection. In here, our operator is watching all of our screens. What they're looking for is a lot of surface defects that might be on the bars, and then it will inspect those bars with the inline inspection. So if it does find any rejects, it's automatically set up where it will kick the bar over into our scrap pile, or if it's good, it goes into the prime section. So these are our malt cut machines. We have 4 of them in-house, and then it's gonna again get cut into these blanks where the robotic arm will pick it up and then place it into the dunnage. This is the gauge calibration where it's going to go through and it's going to check the gauge, and it's for 100% inspection. So we have our maintenance team, which is combined of mechanics and electricians. And we have a set schedule where we PM a piece of equipment. Every piece of equipment gets PM'd every single month. So this is the chip hopper for line 1. The shavings that are coming off the bar are going to go into this hopper. We will then recycle all of these shavings, and they'll get reused in the melting process to make additional and more steel. So this area that we're walking through is the old rolling mill. Right now we are in the process and have been working on removing all of the rolling mill equipment to make room for additional and future new machinery to aid in our finishing process here in Jackson. When product comes in via rail, we will bring the rail cars in on those rails, and that's where the material will be unloaded is from via the rail cars is in this building.
So after watching that video, Carlos, previously before the apprenticeship program, you were in polishing, which is the next step after heat treating. So can you tell us a little bit about what that polishing process is?
Well, straightener processing. After the heat treat, it would get all the scale, the heat treat scale off of the bars, and it would straighten the bars to a certain tolerance. And you check them and...
What do you use to check them?
A mic, a gauge,
Yeah.
and set it up and set the gauge up and check for the tolerance. Make adjustments if it's not in tolerance.
So I'm going to get it wrong, and I'm going to ask a question. But one thing I wanted to point out was on that video that closing shot of the sign, the slogan on there. Like, can you tell me what that slogan was? It was like honor the future, or
honor the past, create the future.
Honor the past, create the future. And I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's great. I need to use that. I need to steal that, right? So, and that's really kind of Jackson County, right? So, question I always like to ask people, like, why Jackson County, right? Why is Gerdau here?
Yeah. So the facility here in Jackson has been here since 1974. It was the first plant in our division, the specialty steel division, and then Gerdau purchased the facility in 2008. So we've been under Gerdau ownership since then. Jackson, based upon what the products we're making, right, it's heavily automotive, so we're close to a lot of the automotive industry. And then even currently we're still in Jackson. We have the ability, our Monroe mill, and so even from a logistics standpoint, sending the product to Jackson is the shorter distance for us to be able to do a quick turnaround from a processing standpoint, and then again, heavily in our industry where the product is going to go. It's in Jackson, another thing that's an advantage that we do have is that we have the rail spur right here at our facility, so a lot of the product can come in and out via that rail spur that comes right into the plant. So I think that's why we've continue to keep the facility here in Jackson.
Awesome. I can't wait for the podcast because you hit on all of the things economic developers like to talk about. So
Yes. So I thank you for joining us on Manufacturing Matters TV show. And for our listeners, tune in to Manufacturing Matters Jackson podcast to learn more and finish out our conversation.